All right, all systems go. It's time for another 10-minute composition session. So we've been writing this piece of music in little 10-minute chunks. And at first the idea was sometimes people put so much weight on composing that they aren't willing to experiment and just try things out and limit their time to just like 10-minute chunks. And sometimes people are like, oh well, if I'm going to write a composition, I need to have like 3 hours free, or like 2 hours free, or at least an hour free to even work on it. But I'm trying to show here how you can get a lot done just working on it in 10-minute chunks. And it's actually a cool way to kind of keep tabs on your ideas, keep things fresh as you go, and hear things from a different perspective every single time you sit down, because you're not listening to the same thing over and over again. You're just working for 10 minutes at a time and then taking a break. But what I've found so far with this piece is that it's going pretty well and that we have nice music happening. But last time we were working on making this intro section here that I'm highlighting in blue, and it was supposed to lead nicely into this next section. And let's take a listen here. I don't think it sounds like a very smooth transition. And today, in the 10 minutes, I want to work on fixing that. So let's start the timer. The time is 6:29, and I'm going to stop at 6:39. Here we go. Alright, so right away, this is the nice thing about doing 10-minute chunks, is I'm not tired of hearing this, so right away my brain said, oh, I know what to do. So what I need to do is make these 16th notes here resolve to these chord tones, the D, the C, and then there's an F here. And we need to have this really want to get to where it goes to. Right now it ends on a B, which is just kind of a leap to each chord tone to which we're resolving. So things just don't sound that smooth when it ends up there. So I'm going to see what happens if I approach it from above. And I'm going to do the same for this F. I'm going to approach the F from above. Alright, so now let's listen to that measure. Let's measure 7. Or 8. Measure 8. Cool, so it's getting better. So bing, bing. So there's got to be something that leads to this high C. So what could it be? It could be we could do something like in the violin here. We could actually do something to lead to this super high D with let's see, we've got 1 beat free here. What if we made this into 2 beats long, and then had a set of 3 triplets, 3 quarter note triplets. I don't need to do it that way. I can do it this way. Alright, so 3 quarter note triplets that lead up here. What if it was, let's see how it sounds if it leads in from an A, and it's A, E, A. Let's just see what that kind of leaping style sounds like. Cool, sounding better. So now we need something in the left hand of the piano. My gut is saying that will really help to get into that low sound there. So let's do na 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 na. Cool, and I'm gonna kind of set I want to set a sort of build in the low end. So I'm gonna put some quarter notes here to kind of set the pace. This is sort of like placeholder quarter notes just to see if the texture's right. But what I'm trying to do is get the low end to come in and then gradually build to this forte. So maybe I'll have everything drop down in dynamic and then swell up into this. So we'll do what's called what's it called when you have, well, you'll see. I'll remember what it's called in just a second. We're gonna go like let's see here. Got to put. It's when you go super piano and then forte piano. It's like yo. Instead of just starting quiet and going it starts loud. It goes yo. So I'm going to put one of those for drama. Yes, and this will stay the way it is, and the banjo will stay the way it is, and we'll see how that sounds. So. Okay. Still doesn't lead in very well. So this is a more complex problem. I think it has to do with the rhythms of this measure. So I want to deal with that later. I got a cold. I'm going to go actually back to the beginning here and try to just improve this section in general. I'm sort of going to take a break from trying to make this connect for now because I have faith that the idea will come to me as long as I just keep working on the rest. So there are things I'm displeased with over on this end, and I want to address those now. Okay, so one thing I thought of is it'd be cool if there was a bum bum right there, where that quarter note rest happens in the piano. If the left hand came in with a bum bum, and maybe even down an octave from that doubled, very low piano, and then we'll skip it here, and then we'll bring it in again here, and then we'll do it here, but we'll just make it dun, because we don't want to get too predictable. Let's hear how that sounds. Cool. Alright, so the dum-dums could be louder. I'm going to make the dum-dums mezzo forte. So it's like a controlled loud. It's like, but not like, ah! It's not like the gorilla smashing the window. It's more like the passive-aggressive accountant. I don't know. I'm thinking about music and not metaphors. Alright, so we've got our mezzo forte bum-bum. And now things were a little awkward here. I feel like this needs to be doubled in the right-hand piano as well. Otherwise, it seems just too lonely, too isolated. And I'm going to make it a seventh instead of a perfect set of octaves. So it's A to G instead of A to A. Okay, so dum-dum seemed a little too redundant. So I'm going to go dum-dum, and then ba-da-da-dum, da-dum-da, dum-da-dum. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, I just heard the idea. I had inspiration, which is nice. Dum-dum, ba-da-da-dum, baga-baga-baga-baga. Yeah, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. That's going to be 16ths down here. We'll do this. Oh, actually. Okay. Cool. So now I can, I think I can delete, oops. I think what I need to do is delete some stuff. Geez, that was informative. All right, I'll try to articulate it in just a second here. Yeah, it just seems like there's too many A's. It could cut out here. I just don't. You wanna. Everything you do in a composition is either killing the motion or helping the motion. There's no just neutral notes. There's no unimportant sections. So in this last minute, or I'm pretty much out of time, but I just want to say, when you hear something that sounds kind of like, tinker with it. Look into it. See if you can figure out what's giving you that reaction. Trust your reaction. And eventually you might conclude that nothing's wrong with it, but you should always try to find out. And so in this case, I feel like I'm destroying the motion in here somewhere. I have theories about how and why, but I'm not 100% sure. But I am out of time, so let's just hear this. Okay, alright, let's listen to the whole thing. I think it might be a little better now. Okay, progress has been made, but we're going to have to continue working on this in the next 10-minute segment. I hope that you've continued to enjoy this. The more we compose and the longer this piece gets, the more difficult it's going to be for me to easily explain myself, because this is when the mysterious stuff starts to happen. It's when you've got a good amount of material, things start to get more challenging. And you start going on like gut instinct from lots of experience from composing and problem solving. You start saying things like, well, I know that's wrong, and what if I try this, and what if I try that, and you can only kind of explain why things work in retrospect. So I want to go through, just to make sure this stays informative, I want to go through and sort of explain my decision making today. These two low A's, jun jun, that I put in, it's because I was feeling there was a lack of counterbalance to this da-da-da-da-dum bum-ba-dum. It seemed like a lot of jagged high stuff that wasn't grounded in any way, and it seemed like some response from the low end was needed. And as this violin started to swell in, it became worse and worse for there to be a lack of low end. So I really wanted to create something that would bring motion to the low end. And also, I wanted to avoid this being this measure, which used to have a lot of low end in it, being the first time that low end is introduced. Balancing your low end versus your high end, your fast stuff versus your slow stuff, your dense stuff versus your sparse stuff. That's contrast, that's counterpoint, that's the essence of composition and motion is contrast. It's tension and release, it's dissonance and consonance. It's the bad day that you had yesterday that can make today so much better because you can appreciate today. It's that classic thing that happens to us in all our experiences. That's the same thing that makes composition work or not work. So in this case, I wanted to create good motion and good contrast between the low and the high. And then here, I'm just trying to make this entrance feel really special and ear-opening, make you go, aha. And right now it's still not there, but that's totally okay. We will approach this again in another 10-minute session, and even if it takes many 10-minute sessions, if at the end of it you have a nice piece of music, then it is all time well spent. And if you end up with a bad piece of music or a throwaway piece of music, then you have all this new experience and insight as to how to make it better next time, and some things that work and some things that don't. So I will see you in future episodes, and good luck with your music.